What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Going to do a video today about Amir, a crazy combination of fighters. Amir Khan, Adrian Broner, because they're both fighting tonight. And what both of these guys fighting tonight and what they've said recently shows me about the caliber of fighter that they are and the caliber of person that they are. And also, when you compare that to Anthony Joshua, exactly how these two quote unquote underachieving fighters are absolutely embarrassing Anthony Joshua in the way that they approach their profession at this point in time in their career. And I would argue that throughout their career. Now, before I do that, I definitely want to. Oh, and I'm sorry, and also because this is going to be in the headline of the article, Amir Khan called out again talking about fighting Errol Spence Jr., which at first go seems absolutely crazy. But when you stop and think about it, this guy would actually want to go do that, man. I don't doubt that for somebody that would go up and fight Canelo Alvarez, and also a guy like another UK fighter in Kell Brook, who also would go all the way up and fight a guy much bigger than himself in Gennady Golovkin, lose to Errol Spence Jr. and still want to get back in the ring with him. It says a lot about them. And I think it says a lot about Adrian Broner as well and what he's willing to do as a fighter and taking on tough competition. Now, before I get into that, we're going to have live streams today. There are fights all day today. Today is Saturday, April 21st. So there will be a bunch of fights on. Lo Greco, Amir Khan, Carl Frampton, Nonito Donaire, Gervonta Davis, and Jesus Cuellar, Jamal Charlo, and Centino. And then wrapping up the evening will be Adrian Broner and Jesse Vargas. So probably gonna have live conversations during all of those fights. So I hope that you'll attend. The best way to know about them is to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And that way you can be notified of when they occur. We usually have very, very good conversations with knowledgeable boxing fans in the comments section. So I hope that you'll accept my invitation to join. Also, a quick thank you to everybody that donated via Venmo and the super chat during the live stream. Is much appreciated. Really does help towards towards funding the cause that is the purpose of this channel. So thank you very much. Now that said, let me get into what Amir Khan said first, and then I'll tell you what I think and go over a little bit of Adrian Broner and Kell Brook as well. And then I get to my point about what that says about this heavyweight division. Khan, I can beat Errol Spence. I'm 100% against southpaws. Former world champion Amir Khan will be back in action later today when he faces Phil Lo Greco at the Echo Arena in Liverpool. The contest will be the first bout for Khan in nearly 2 years. He was last seen in the ring back in May of 2016 when he moved up to a catch weight of 155 pounds and was knocked out in the 6th round by then WBC middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez. Should Khan win, there will be numerous options before his feet. One of those options is IBF welterweight world champion Errol Spence, 23-0 and 20 KOs. Some experts regard Spence as the best fighter in the division and one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. And Khan, who is confident of victory, believes the unbeaten boxer's southpaw style is made for him. Errol Spence is a very good fight for me. Stylistically, I've got a 100% record against southpaws, said Khan. If I'm at the best of my condition, and honestly, I think I can beat Spence with the speed and movement and being at 147 where I feel comfortable. I think it's a good fight for me at that weight. The other big option is a showdown with longtime domestic rival Kell Brook, 37-2 with 26 KOs. And for the first time, the contest looks realistic because both fighters are now promoted by Eddie Hearn. We've made it even more realistic to happen now because I'm with Eddie Hearn and so is he, Khan said. I think it can happen maybe end of the year. I would like to be in a stadium, to be honest with you. I want the big show, definitely. Kell's a good fighter. I'm not going to say he's a bad fighter. He's a very good fighter. And he won a world title, so you have to respect that. I think a fight between me and him would be massive, and that's what the Brits want to see. Now, just briefly about Amir Khan and Errol Spence Jr. Now, the easiest thing to say here is that Errol Spence Jr. will absolutely crush Amir Khan, and that I don't give him a snowball's chance in a furnace of beating Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is not Zab Judah. So it's an absolute beatdown. That's how I see it. I don't see that as a competitive fight. I see that as a fight that's going to, if Amir Khan is actually able to not get knocked out cold, that he's going to get beat up so badly that more than likely they're going to throw in a towel. Errol Spence Jr. is just a different monster. He's a young, hungry, big welterweight. And not only a big welterweight, he has a very, very good jab. He's got a very, very good body attack. He cuts off the ring extremely well. The dude is no joke whatsoever. And I think that Amir Khan loses that fight, and I think he loses that fight in a fashion similar to Errol Spence Jr. versus Lamont Peterson. That would be my take on it. I don't think that there's enough moving around and being, to get out of that. He might win a couple of the first five, however long. He might win a couple rounds, but that's just going to be until Errol Spence Jr. Gets to him. And when he gets to him, it's just going to be a beatdown. I would say lights out, but more than likely, I'm not even going to say it's going to be knocked out cold. It'll just get beaten. The way that I see that fight going is that he would get beat into submission. Now, that's the easy part of it. Now, here's where I want to give Amir Khan credit. And then I'm going to give Adrian Broner credit and also give Kell Brook credit. These guys, even though I don't think that these guys, like I said, he got a snowball's chance in a furnace to beat Errol Spence Jr., I'm 100% confident that if that fight could be made, Amir Khan would get in there. And Amir Khan would do his best to beat Errol Spence. He knows that he would be the underdog and he would still get out there and he would still fight. I've never known Amir Khan to be somebody that wants to just sit around and, although he's very confident about his drawing power, right? Because he's coming from the UK. He was a popular fighter in the UK that came over to the United States, tried to take over the United States, and the welterweight, the 140-pound division, the welterweight division, fought for championships, won championships. He's still willing to take the fight despite everything that he's been in, and he's always been willing to take the fight. He's never hid behind the fact that he was the draw. He never hid behind the fact that he was, that he was making more money than the other fighter. And he's a credit to boxing. He's a credit to boxing in general, and he's a credit to boxing in the UK in particular for the way that he goes about trying to make fights and that he knows people want to see. Now there's an issue, of course, with whether or not him and Khan got together and whether he would fight him. Kell Brook. But having fought Danny Garcia, having been number one, being in a smaller weight class, having fought Danny Garcia, having fought Lamont Peterson, having fought having fight Canelo Alvarez. The guy's not afraid to get in the ring with somebody. I don't have no way that I'm going to believe that he'd be afraid to get in the ring with Kell Brook if he's willing to get in the ring with Canelo Alvarez. Now, stupid for doing it? Maybe. You know, maybe delusional in the fact that he thought he could win that. Maybe, but having heart, absolutely. The dude has heart. And there was somebody that was on my channel asked me what the most important aspect of being a boxer was, and I think the guy's answer was endurance. And I said I think the most important thing is that the guy has courage, or that they have heart. That they're absolutely willing to get in there and fight the best, and they want to prove that they're the best, and they're willing to do whatever's necessary in order to prove that. And I think to a large extent, all boxers have heart that get into that make it to the professional ranks and get in there and throw hands without a doubt. But there's some people have a little more heart than others. And the way that Amir Khan behaves tells me that he's somebody that's got a lot of heart. And Adrian Broner, same thing. Adrian Broner's getting in here with Jesse Vargas, and Adrian Broner is somebody that gets a lot of ridicule for the way that he behaves outside the ring, actually, and sometimes the way he behaves inside the ring. Whether or not he lives up to his potential or doesn't live up to his potential, right? Whether he's a world-class fighter, whether he's a hype job. Well, you hear all kind of things about Adrian Broner. But one thing that you'll never hear about Adrian Broner, and I think is to this man's credit, is that he will always fight tough competition. Always. And he never shies away from it. Despite everybody thinking that he can lose, despite everybody, many people, not everybody, because there's still obviously a lot of Adrian Broner fans out there. Clearly, because the dude's numbers again tonight are about to be, I'm already going to tell you, it's going to be, his numbers are going to be extremely solid because you can see how entertaining a person he is, right? So, so there's obviously a lot of people that want to see him fight. A lot of people, like Luda Bella say, want to see him lose. However, you cannot say that this guy does not fight tough competition. From, Marcos Maidana, man. Marcos Maidana is not an easy out for anybody, man. Sean Porter, Adrian Granados, who was really going to be trying to fight. As much as unheralded as Adrian Granados is, you can see what type of fighter Adrian Granados was by what Adrian Granados did when he fought Sean Porter. There's a lot of people think that Adrian Granados beat Sean Porter. Mikey Garcia is a guy that's generally recognized as pound for pound one of the best fighters in the world. He's a guy that at the time that he fought was 36-0 with 30-something knockouts. Right? This cat is I think he won belts at 126 and 130, moving up to 140, and is a guy that I think is probably a little bigger than Adrian Broner. He took that fight. You don't see he had, of all the last fights that he's had, two guys that could halfway be considered soft touches in Ashley Theophane and I can't remember, Aladerev. I can't remember how to pronounce that guy's name, right? That was after the Sean Porter fight. Then he came back, and then it was last three fights have now been Adrian Granados, Mikey Garcia, Jesse Vargas. Another guy that takes tough fights. And that's what I personally, as a fan, and I'm a fan of boxing. And what I like when I sit there and I watched the NBA Finals. I couldn't hardly pay attention to it, honestly, but I watched the Milwaukee Bucks playing the Boston Celtics. And I was just because it was on and I was hanging out with my kids, I thought to myself, you know what, man, if they have no choice but to play each other. They can't just, or a good example, probably the better example, is the Cleveland Cavaliers being down to the Indiana Pacers in their series 2-1. LeBron James is the biggest star in basketball. He might be the biggest star in sports. He's arguably the biggest star in sports. And He doesn't get to pick and choose who he plays. If the NBA sets a schedule, he has to go in there, and his team, that team has to play. There's no getting out of it for him. Same thing for Roger Federer in tennis. Wherever that draw lands on, he's got to play whoever it is that they say they got to play. But in boxing, you have these prima donnas that talk about freezing people out and saying things through their promoters, like, why would I do that when I can fight somebody who risk-free for just a little less money? Why would we want to fight somebody that's a massive risk? Because you're in boxing, because you're an athlete, because that's what you're supposed to do. That's the purpose of the sport. That's the value that you give to the fan for their money. Because Eddie Hearn, and I'll go off on Eddie Hearn on this because I'm coming around. This is my point. Eddie Hearn is not paying anybody. Eddie Hearn is processing the money. The promoter processes the money. Lou DiBella said that yesterday in an interview when he kind of was told, in no uncertain terms, so Eddie Hearn, he needs to F off and focus on selling some tickets for the Danny Jacobs bout. He said, "Look, man, people, get off social media, man. Nobody's coming to watch the promoter. They're coming to watch the fighters, and there is no negotiation going on because when there's real negotiations going on, you'll never hear about it in the press because people will be sitting down at the table going through it." So that's what Lou DiBella said. And I'm with Lou DiBella on that. And actually, man, that's one of the guys, promoters, that I very rarely ever have anything to say about because Lou DiBella doesn't do a lot of talking in the media. Now, boxers saying that they want to fight, that's something different. Deontay Wilder saying that he wants to fight, that's something different. But that's what but Eddie Hearn, Lou DiBella, Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, Tom Loeffler, they do not pay the fighters because they process money that come from boxing fans. And the value that boxing fans want for their money, at least is what I thought till I started listening to a whole bunch of people that are making all kind of reasons, acting as if they're these people's accountants. The value for the boxing fan is to see the best fight possible for the least amount of money. That's the benefit a boxing fan should want, that I want. I want to see the best fights available for the least amount of money. Why would you not want that anywhere else as a boxing consumer? Would you say that you want the nicest car, you want the worst car for the most money? Yeah, I want to see, you know what, I really want this 1972, POS, Ford POS. But look, I want to make sure I pay $50,000 for that 1972 POS that ain't going to drive another 3 miles. And it's going to cost me $5,000 a year upkeep on and ain't worth what I'm paying for it, not even close. But that's what I really want. That's what boxing fans, that's not what a consumer should want, if they're being honest about it. You want the best competition possible, the best product possible for the least amount of money. So even making arguments about, well, we don't want to see this fight because this guy has never been on pay-per-view before, sounds ridiculous. Why, as a fan, would you say, oh, this fight's not ready for me to pay for $100 for? Hold on, let's hold off. Let's not watch this fight. Let's wait till they get older, so the value of the product goes down, and then the price let the price go up. Why would you do that? Why would you go into a store and say, hold on, I don't want the fresh milk. Give me the spoiled shit that you just pulled off the cart, and hold on, and then I want you to pay me twice as much for it. But that's what Anthony Joshua is trying to sell you. I don't want to, I'm a businessman. And I want to make sure that I make as much money for as least amount of risk as I possibly can. I want to give you the worst product that I possibly can get away from with giving you for the most money. Right? Isn't that what he's saying? Isn't that what Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua are saying when they say, look, we can make a fight with less risk-free fight and make the same amount of money? Who's paying the money? The fans are paying the money. So we can get the fans to pay us a good amount of money for giving them a product, a product that isn't any good. Because you might as well watch him shadow box if you're paying pay-per-view prices to see him fight somebody that there's no risk in him losing to. That's like watching. Would you pay season tickets to watch an NBA game play your local high school? That's like the NBA Finals. Nobody wants to see that. Not the NBA Finals. It's like the NBA All-Star game, man. Nobody wanted to see that crap for years because nobody's playing defense. Nobody cares. They just run up and do layups. It was like it's just a glorified dunk contest layup line. And their rankings and their ratings went down and down and down because basketball fans understand this. We're not going to pay you. We're not going to pay-per-view garbage fights. Garbage boxing match, garbage basketball games. We're not gonna tune in and watch that when we can watch something else. So, my hats off again. My hats off to Amir Khan, even though I don't think he can win the fight. At least he's doing what he's supposed to do. Same thing for Adrian Broner, and same thing for Kell Brook. And I would really hope that Anthony Joshua would, get in lockstep with it and make a fight happen. And with that, I'm out. Peace.